That was quite something. I think everyone is recuperating a little bit emotionally. I know I am. I want to thank you all for being here, and it's really an honor to have you all and to have this absolutely marvelous film. And it really shows the power of art. I mean, it really does. It shows you what art can do in the world and what it can do for democracy and for a people, and to carry on a fight when sometimes the activists in that country are tired or they've suffered defeats and they can't carry the fight on any longer, and art can propel it, it can keep it moving. And I think that's why we have in the festival this year a theme, art versus oppression, because we have these films that show you what artists can accomplish, and I think that's a really powerful thing. So I want to thank you all.
It's really difficult to say where the movie has started, right? So it has different stages. But for me, it was always interesting to make a movie about Qamar, the woman I mentioned in the film, the first woman who sang in public in Iran. And I was, of course, always wondering, how can I narrate this story? And in early 2009, I met Sara, and she was working on her first composition for voice, I mean for singing. And of course, she wished that she can have a female voice, you know, with the female singers. And of course, we knew that she can't. So that was basically the beginning of this film for me. I said, look, Sara, we are talking about the same project, you know. Let's do something together. You go do your concert, you know, and I'm going to follow you in all the steps. And I thought Sara has to go through all the, you know, difficulties that Qamar did in 1920s, you know, and I thought it would be much more interesting to make a movie about nowadays than about 1920s. And of course, in between, the Green Movement happened in Iran. And again, I met Sara, and her new compositions were totally different. It was, for me, it wasn't Sara that I knew, you know, it was totally a new person, a new musician. And of course, that was the moment that we decided to do a different movie, and not only to fight for female voice, but also, as you mentioned, you know, to start from the moment that the movement sort of, you know, stopped in Iran. I mean, stopped is the wrong word, you know, it's sort of, you know, brutally stopped by the government, let's say. And of course, the moment we saw Emel on YouTube was another, you know, impulse that, oh, okay, now we can do something bigger, you know. We have to invite her to this concert. And it was a beautiful moment, because when we met Emel and I asked if she's interested to come join the project, she looked in her stuff in her small flat in Paris, and she found a map of Iran, and she said, look, that was a dream for me. I always wanted to go to Iran. I said, okay, that's a good starting point. And yeah, so
I never expected the movie to be this touching, because when you work on something, it's like when you cook, you don't really taste your food like other people. So I'm doing like the guy. I'm comparing art to food. But yes, actually, I'm very, very emotional, and I'm very, very grateful to both of you, because it's true. It was a big dream for me to go to that beautiful country, and a very big dream also to sing in Persian, because for me, even before I meet them, I was very interested in the Persian music, and for me it's, I might say, the most beautiful music in the world. So I had the honor of singing in Persian, and I think they encouraged me in it. And I welcomed the idea of participating with them in the project since the first second, because, of course, it had a special impact on me, because I'm also coming from a country where things are not that difficult, but where things were very complicated too, for everything, as you know, and it still is, actually. And with my songs, I mean, before I start writing songs, I started listening to people who believed in the power of songs and who believed in power of music, like Bob Dylan and John Baez. And then I moved to people in the Arab region. They weren't that many, but the artist Sheikh Imam in Egypt and the artist Marcel Khalifa in Lebanon. And their music gave me a huge force that I really wanted to go and fight. So maybe that's what I tried to do when I started writing my own songs, to try to push people to believe in themselves as independent entities who can think and who can decide for themselves.
So I mean, reaction to the music was actually ignorance, you know, and we believe that they want to ignore this evening that happened, you know. So, and they didn't really believe that we go that far, you know. So they asked us to, you know, to have the concert, but they didn't know what we are going to do. So luckily we didn't have any, you know, any negative feedback, but also nothing else, you know. So they just ignore it. But for the movie, actually, it's almost a year that the movie is traveling, and surprisingly, I received some very positive reviews in Iranian film magazine. But from the government, there was so far nothing. So, and I'm happy of that, actually. So.
Yes.
Nothing is sometimes the best.
Well, as you said, like, it was something that happened, and I think Sara kind of busted for a long time. I think she was so insistent that, well, they didn't want to do it before the elections. So that means that it was something that was really annoying them. But I think there was a small euphoria after the elections, and you know, they got the system exactly the way they wanted. So I think after many attempts, and like it was 2.5 years, they said, okay, fine. And they tried to scare us many times, but then they say, okay, it's gonna happen in this place. It was very, very controlled, and they know that like people are not gonna start yelling in the street and start a demonstration. So they kind of let it go and just decided to ignore it and keep it in the dark.
I mean, I also add something. It's usually, you don't know, you know, we don't know what's going on behind the scene, you know, and you never know in Iran. So, but the feeling that we had, I mean, the last days, that they want something happen, you know, as Emel said, something under control, but because usually in this situation, they make you, you know, they bring you in a situation that you say, I don't do it, you know, so you give up yourself. And you see it among the Iranian musicians, like Saye was really believed that that's the same case. They wanted us to give up. But then the feeling was, because the French people are there and Rouhani was in power only 1 month, you know, and he wanted to send a different message to the West. And it was really like, the feeling was they want something happen. And then it was us to say, okay, we are going to do something we want, you know. And it was very small window they opened for us, which we jumped through. And for sure, they didn't let us to sing solo, you know. And we say, okay, we go there, and the French ambassador is there, so they are not going to attack us. And so let's do it, you know. And I tell you, there was a huge disagreement among the ensemble. So should we go for it or not, you know? And we decided we go for it, and we really scared. I tell you, you know, I myself was I was really afraid. But we went for it, and nothing happened, you know.
May I add something? But I think they didn't give us, the Iranian musician permission. They gave the French and foreign musician permission, because after that, they never happen again. You know, it wasn't the permission for us. It was for foreign musician.
That's right. And that was the strategy. I mean, one of the reasons we invite the foreign musician was we knew that the last minute they won't cancel, you know.
I mean, they won't support the Iranian musician, Iranian women singers. They support other people that they don't need the support. I'm continuing for hoping. I hope that the women singer can sing in Iran. But I just work on my new composing for women singer again. But these days, unfortunately, very bad days for Iranian musicians. It's not just for women, it's for all musicians. And because I don't know why, the music is very problem for Iranian government. And these days, the most concert has cancelled. The perfect concert, the serious concert cancelled. We have a lot of concerts, but they are not with the good musicians. But